Hey y'all, welcome back. A to Z haircutting. Yesterday we did the V haircut, the V back, and step-by-step directions. You can see once it's blow dried, that is a V. That's the easier way to do it. I know many times people comb it down and they're trying to shape that V in. If you have what's called a stationary guide in the front, it's going to fall into a V in the back, and all you do, remember, these corners underneath are going to be what's the problem when you do comb it down, and you just get rid of the corners. So it's been blow dried, it's blow dried into that, and you can see that that's a V. Now, one thing that I want to bring up, remember yesterday we talked about keeping that parietal area above the parietal line. If you're not understanding these terms, because these are the terms we're going to use, these are professional terms. We're not here to impress you. We're here to teach you. I'm not going to say here or there because we need specifics on what we're doing, especially when we get into clipper cutting. That will make sense to you later. But anyways, along the parietal line, that we're going to clip up because of what? The natural fall. So we take, and you saw how we did it yesterday, brought everything forward, our guide, and these are variables again. We chose for the nose and the chin to be our guide. You notice I drew a face on it this time. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm going to bring it forward a bit. I put a little bit of face on it. I'm not a very good artist, so bear with me. But anyways, we chose the nose and then the distance. The distance makes a difference too. You know, you're going to end up with layers up front. So the reason that we leave that area up on top of the head, the parietal line up away, is because otherwise this hair right here would have been cut, and you can see that there would have been some, there's like about another inch left, I mean, for the length that we took off in the front, but all of this was left from the, so there you go, little bit of length. But the point is, if you have really long hair and you take it this long, you're going to have a lot more length left, all right? So that's where you have to take the precautions. I'm going to bring this over below the parietal line so that gives you an even better view. I'm going to bring it down here where we sectioned it, and you'll see that's an even longer, it's about 2 inches more, all right? Bringing it up was a little bit different right here where we sectioned it, and then we cut to blend. So the V haircut, that's the easiest way to do it, and that's the more efficient and correct way. And like that, you don't keep cutting and cutting and cutting, trying to get both sides to blend. You can see that it's even on both sides. So with the V haircut, what we did, we subsectioned off the parietal line. We then took it at the flat part of the head, we drew that forward to this area, and then we cut it straight up and down. Diagram, take notes, pause, go back, make sure you get this. Subsection again, bring it down. Now, do you see that as we subsection, this hair is becoming longer? All right, still being cut at the exact same spot, but this hair is longer than the hair right at that perimeter line. We're going to travel on back slightly below the lower ridge or up into the parietal line if you want. And anyways, I'll put that in there. All right, so then we're going to come up, and you can see where it becomes longer. It's growing in length by the subsections that you take off until you get into the center back occipital. Once you get to the center back occipital, then you're going to subsection below the, right here, tip of the ear to tip of the ear on the other side, but we're just going halfways. Now remember, only halfways into the occipital area, center crown area, all of that. So we're going to bring that again, and you can see that this is almost the same length as that hair up here, because that's equal to it. That's the same distance going to one spot. Now this is what I want to show you. Watch what happens here. Remember, this comes up, all of it being cut. So when it falls, the area here at the behind the ear area, when you drop it down, that corner is going to show up. That corner is what you then Once you comb it straight down, bring it at a slight angle because what are you making? A V. So check out that V, make sure you're still along the same line, and only that corner, no more. Cut, comb, cut, comb. Don't cut, 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 cut. Cut, comb, cut, comb. That's what you're supposed to do. Now you're not going to see it right away, especially if the hair is really stringy, but if the hair is nice and thick, you'll start seeing your V right away into that. So you can see that everything comes to that. Again, diagram. Did the same thing. Here's the variables. We chose the nose and tip of the ear, the area of the ear. You can choose the forehead and the nose. You can choose the eye and the nose. Bring it straight out. Those are different variables. Again, as well, the distance. What's the distance? And that all goes back to length. So do you see the multitude of variables that you're going to have with it? Now, this is the diagram for it that I drew out. So off of that center occipital, see, do you see the different variables that I could put down? And then these areas now at the lower nape would come up to that. The nape came down to the chin area. Still yet, everything cut straight up and down. If you were to cut it at an angle, again, more variables. Remember, section, elevation, the cut is what makes the haircut. So the other variable would be, and I have it right here, do I cut it straight? Do I increase my length? Do I increase a whole lot of length? If you increase a whole lot of length, you're going to get a sharper V, and it's really going to go down for you. So these are things to look at, and then on my other side, I just put down the result. That's what's going to happen. You end up with a V back. All right? So it's good to, excuse my back, it's good to see that. So you separate it into 4 quadrants, subsection, the center occipital from ear to ear horizontally. So then you were going to take up that section afterwards. All subsections are vertical. Now the cuts that we're doing so far, basically, this is a 0 elevation to the face. See, 0 elevation to the face. We just directed the hair. So everything right now, the 0 elevation, the true 0, was held straight down. The V is directed forward, but still held close to the face. In other words, down. Our next haircut is going to be the A-line, and we're starting that today. Let me get this off of here. The A-line haircut is exactly opposite the V back haircut. Only we're going to, instead of bringing it to the front, we're going to bring it to the back. Now, I was debating before I did this cut, because I've done this cut already once before, but you couldn't hear our videos, but you know, go to those videos anyways. Look at what's happening. Okay, we can choose to cut an A-line this short. We can choose to take the A-line even shorter, but look at the angle of my fingers. That's how you're going to hold your fingers when you do it. The only reason I'm not going to take it this short on the cut today is because as I clean this up, on some of it I have to do scissor over comb. So I'm going to wait and do it again, but I'm going to do it up to about just below the crown, maybe center occipital a little bit more. That's for really, really short hair. But then I can also work with you on some of the scissor over comb. So here's one, and this one is a little bit more extreme. You can see that it lifts up a little bit more. And let me show you the other one. Okay, this one doesn't lift up as much. You see, it's a little bit lower. And the one that we do today, I'm going to take it, I'm going to turn it real slow for you to see it. All right, it doesn't lift up as much. This one lifts up a little bit more. And I'm going to turn her just a little bit for you to see it. So the angle is going to be at the very center nape line, right between the area behind the ear on both sides. Where's my mannequin? Okay, let me move my V mannequin, because I'm going to bring my 0 elevation back up here, and that's the one we're going to cut today. And what we're going to do, we're going to show you the procedure to the haircut. I'm looking for my marker. Hope this one writes. All right. Procedure to the V haircut is going to be, I'm going to do first a back, and there's the nape, there's her ears, parietal line, and we are still going to do it into 4 quadrants, pinning this up. This is all pinned up. You don't have to separate that if you don't want to. Just pin it up. But separate the center occipital down to the center nape, tip of the ear to tip of the ear. All right, when we subsection on this, if we're going to take it really close, we're going to subsection at that angle. Does that look like the letter A? It's the same thing. It's the letter A. We're going to do it longer, however, to create just that fall where it's a little bit shorter in the back, longer in the front. What we're going to do then, once we've created our guide or our line, all the hair is going to then be subsectioned the same way, taken to that shortest point. Now this is much shorter here. That's why I'm not showing you that yet, because you have to do a little bit of scissor over comb to get that. So we're going to do it a little bit longer, but then again, all your subsections are in this form and they come to the exact same spot. Now what's going to happen when you get up here, this is going to slightly come down. This is going to come over. You're not going to move away from that spot. In other words, this A is not going to grow up unless you want to take it shorter into it. We don't want to do that right now. So the A line, again, countless variables. And then again, you're going to do the same thing. Your subsections are going to come. And then when you get to the area, the flat part of the head, I'm going to do one down here so you can see it. All right, there's a parietal line. Everything has been sectioned to come up. These are going to then make a real sharp distinction. Section, subsection, diagonally. The diagonal sections aren't going to change. Your sections are going to stay in that form. And they're going to come again to that point. That becomes a stationary guide. In other words, that line doesn't move. Everything comes to that line no matter what. Just like taking a bunch of ropes and bringing them all to one spot. You're taking a bunch of little hairs and bringing them all to one spot. So that is what the A line is about. So I'm giving you directions for an A line, how short you get your A line. Again, you saw the other 2 mannequins. We're going to wait until we go into, like I said, clipper cutting, and then we're going to do a really short A-line because you will have to do a lot of scissor over comb. And I do have I'm going to be doing a whole video on how to do proper scissor over comb. You won't necessarily do a cut on that video. You're just going to practice scissor over comb methods and techniques with both shears, and then we may do it again with the clipper, or we may do both. We haven't decided that yet. Just depends on where you're at. Depends on, if you have questions on it, what concerns you have about it, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to subsection off I love this apron because when I get hair on it, it's got little zipper pockets, and you see all my little hairs coming out of the zipper pockets. Otherwise, they stay in the zipper pockets. So anyways, it's unsanitary to put stuff in there, but we're just doing this class and you just be careful. All right, so subsection, how do I determine? Okay, parietal line is right there. I'm going to section that off. I'm going to bring it around, section it off. And I'm just doing it with my finger because I know exactly where it's at. And as I said, 52 years of cutting hair. If you don't know by now, you ain't going to get it. Okay, subsection that up. I would have had this done before, but I wanted you to see the 0 again to get an idea. And again, you see that we're pretty even on each side. So I'm going to wrap it up, clip her up, and then I am going to subsection center occipital to center occipital. I'm going to put it like in quadrants tip of the ear to tip of the ear. Instead of separating off the flat part of the head, I'm going to section off just the, and turn this around again. Now, here are the options on this as well. You can also, for more volume, if you're going to do it really short, have your model or your mannequin, you know, if you're doing it on a person, they're saying, I want the A-line, but I want it to get a lot of, I want to have fullness. They call it fullness when they actually mean volume. You can have them tilt their head forward to do it, because once you bring this down, shorter moves longer. It's going to create volume. But we're just going to hold the head straight up. Those are variables now, and you can try it on your mannequin first and then move from there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to subsection off just a small area at the center nape, very center nape. I want to make sure you see that. Excuse me, let me get more clippies here. And the only reason I'm doing this is to show you. But I just do it without. Yes, I could. But I want you to be exact on what you're doing here. Okay. See, I'm trying to make sure that I'm absolutely even on each side. All right. All right, there you go. Now we're pretty even. All right, I'm going to wet it down. And again, that's going to be my focal point. That's going to be my guide. That's going to be, I'm going to move it this way because you can see better when my elbow is down. See, I'm cutting in that direction. I don't know what I did with my water bottle. I'll use this other one. Cameraman, do you see my, oh, there it is, sorry. I like this one a whole lot better. All right, and always wet. You know, I see people just wetting it once and then they put it down, wet it once. Wet the whole thing. Good grief. Get the other one moist. Get the rest of it moist so you're halfway there. All right? Come on. It's spraying still. I love it because I don't have to squeeze it. It just keeps spraying for me for a while. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this straight down. Now, could I take half of that? Yes, if she had really thick hair, I would only take half of it. These mannequins don't have really thick hair, but for those of you that work with people with really thick hair, I'll do this for you. I'm going to just attach it to that right now. So we're going to bring this straight down, straight to the center, right there, all right? And then we're just going to cut it straight across using secondary position, looking at it straight, straight. My shear is straight. There you go. Now I'm going to bring this down. I have my guide, I have my line. And I can see it. Can you see it? You can see it. Now you noticed I held that close to the skin. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just holding it straight down, cutting along that same line. I've got my line right there. I could also just take the comb it straight down. Make sure the comb is straight. Clean up those little ends. Okay, this is rectangular. However, my subsections are going to be diagonal. My guide for the cut on this side is going to be this hair right here, not the hair at the center, this line of hair right here. My angle of the cut, you notice that this was horizontal. My angle of the cut is now going to come in this form. I'm not taking it horizontal anymore. Remember, this is an A line. I'm making it A. I'm doing it on longer hair, not taking it up to the scalp. I'm not taking it to the nape or the occipital area. I'm holding it down away from the scalp and bringing it straight down. So now, I'm going to wet this down again. Because you want to keep your hair uniformly moist. You want to make sure that everything is pretty even on what you're doing. If you have some dry, some wet, some of that hair is going to stretch, some of it is not. Okay, so I'm just going to bring it straight down. And then my angle now is going to be, and I got to Hold my elbow up so you can see it, but do you see that angle? Now on this side, I'm pointing my finger down. On the other side, I'll be pointing my finger up because I'm not going to be doing this trying to make the other side of the A. So there you go. Travel down. Everything comes to that. See, I'm bringing it to that line. That was right next to it. And you see that A line coming in. Do you see this little corner right here? Where is that coming from? From everything I've taught you. Remember, that was directed over. And I can show you right now exactly right here. So you're going to bring it down. You're going to take your comb. And you're going to take care of business. Right there. That's that corner. You pulled it out. It's going to go back and expose itself, expose you. All right? So I'm going to finish this side, and then I'm going to go to the other side. So I'm going to bring it down. Remember, everything is coming back. Nothing is coming forward. Now, everything is going to be pulled back to blend. And then when we drop the top, that just gives us a guide. It gives us our line for, you know, everything underneath it. We're not guessing. We can see it. My sections are pretty big, but I can see my guide. And this will be pulled back to that line. It will not go I'm not going to bring it forward. Everything is being pulled back to that. Can you see? I'm going to put my arm up. Again, cutting at that angle. It's an A. Bring that back. Cutting at that angle. Bring this back. And I just want that guide. Now, you notice I'm not taking it all the way back here anymore. I want to increase that length. If I don't want to increase that length and I wanted to round out a little more, because what this is going to do, let me pull it back so I can show you what it's going to do. And I'm sorry, and what I've done is I've traveled almost to the corner. Bring it around. I had a little corner there, and that's because of the top of the ear. We've talked about that before. Those are all the whys. And I want you to see how strong that is. It's almost a sharp line right there going back up. Now let's say that I bring it all the way back to that line. And it has slightly softened that corner. If you do it in extreme, what it's going to do, this square is going to become this square, even though you've taken it at an angle, and that's the geometry factor, that's the architecture factor of it. It's because the head is round and you're cutting it at an angle. In order to make a circle, you have to have all the lines need to be diagonal lines. So that means on a circle, those would actually be straight lines. Okay? So let me move it over. I'm going to do the other side, and you'll see this time my fingers are going to be pointed up. My subsections are going to be diagonal. It's a quick cut. If you can't see your guide, do not cut. And we're coming to the center. Again, let me show you before we do it. Okay, this hair right here is my guide. That's coming in that order. That little straight line is going to be there. Oh, I see another little corner right here. And see, this is what, when your stylist is nipping away, that's what she's nipping away at. Now you know what happens with that. It's not crooked, it's in the elevation, it's in how you pulled it. And then that perimeter line, taking it to a stationary guide, makes a big difference. So I'm going to now, and you'll notice my fingers, again diagonal, I'm going only to that line and it's diagonal. This time my fingers are pointing upward instead of down. Diagonal line, bring it over, still traveling, bring it over, now, and we're even. If you've got your angles correct, that's a 45-degree angle, and I've got that slight corner there from that lower nape. So take care of it now. All right, so I'm going to bring this hair down. Take that off from, I think I'm going to subsection this away just to keep it a little bit more organized. Now, once we wet it, you'll be able to see the guide. So see, once I've cut that at the midsection, at the occipital, I have a guide to follow. It makes it easier to see it. Now do you see that guide right there? See it? It's all in the same spot. I'm still directing it back, still bringing it back, because I want that to continue getting longer in the front. That's what an A-line haircut is. Shorter in the back, longer in the front. It's not straight across. The next haircuts that we do are all going to be held straight up. And there's an extreme variety of layering with that. Part of that, you're going to learn a little bit about face framing and how to do that. All right, so I'm going to bring this back again. And now I'm only taking it back to this area because I'm blending with what I've already got. I'm not looking at it, but it's even. Don't have to look at it. And then again, you want to go underneath. You want to just clean that up, so that means you have to bend down a bit. The next video is going to show this blow dried. So you'll be able to see that this is definitely shorter in the back, longer in the front, and we're even. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to part it down the center. I teach you hair cutting methods to make it easier. If it's shorter, the shorter haircuts are the ones that are going to drive you crazy. The shorter haircuts, longer haircuts, you have room for error with longer haircuts because you have a lot of hair right there that can hide and cover your mistakes. Hide and cover your concerns that you think, oh man, there's many things that you can do in hair cutting, but some of it you have to talk to the client because hair growth, the growth pattern of the hair, is the biggest factor. Are we done? Have we done the 30 minutes? What are you asking me? My cameraman's talking to me. We're close. All right. So what I want to show you, oh yeah, we are very close. We have about 1 minute. So what I want to show you is that now, and if I have to finish this haircut on the next one, we'll finish it on the beginning and then I'll show you the blow dry later. But now what you can see is we can see our line, and this is all you have to do. See it? Now we have just followed that line. I'm not even picking it up because I have a line that I can follow. I don't need to direct it back. If I direct it back, it'll create a slight layering. And if you want that layering, that's fine, but you can see that that's even, and you can see that it's shorter in the back. Different from the V. Now we've created an A. Thank you so much. I hope I gave you enough information. We'll blow dry it and then we'll start with our upward haircuts. Take care. Have a great day.